Yeah, I really like that. I wonder how long they spent just getting that to sound so nasty. Hi folks, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. So today we've got a brand new band on the channel. The band is SOKONINARU. Apologies if my pronunciation is off. Gou Ni Moyu, official music video. So this is a brand new band that I've never heard before. And for anybody who's first time visitor to the channel, I intentionally don't do any background research before listening to a new band, so I can give you as much of an unbiased reaction and analysis as possible, going in with no preconceived ideas. This request comes in from a VIP patron over on my Patreon, Home Gnome. So thank you for the request. The format of the video, I'm going to look through the video uninterrupted in its entirety. And then as a musician, a piano teacher, somebody who writes his own music, you're going to get my thoughts as I go through on a second run, and we'll maybe talk a little bit more about what's going on as best as I can for a first time listen. So hopefully you enjoy the video, and if you do, please do like and subscribe. Consider supporting me on Patreon. You'll find the links below in the description. Yada yada yada. Let's get going. Go.
小さな幸せが僕の体を今にも蝕い込んだ何をしていたって止まらない600のリードが僕を殺める隙間から今見えた充足が湧くてこの間違いで満たしていたって穴に溺れていたって過信さまよう僕の解決は変えられないされど許されずに生きても死んでも限界です日々の間に埋められた小さな幸せが僕の体を今にも蝕んでいくんだ何を手にしても埋まらない一つの科学はきっと潤いを得られないのだろうそれでもすがることも逃れられないそうかいおい日々の間に埋められた小さな幸せが僕の体を今にも蝕んでいくんだ何を手にしても埋まらない一つの科学はきっと潤いを得られない してるんだ
Wow. I think this band has a great sense of humor. Um, I'm just rewinding the video because I'm going to go through it again. Yeah, that was really enjoyable. So, I mean, it seems like it's kind of made up of maybe a few, between three and five, it seemed. I haven't calculated it exactly. Sort of harmonic progressions. And then the rest of it is crazy youth all over the place. Arrangement, let's do this, let's do that, break it up, chopped, which I love. I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. So it put me in mind of several other bands that don't necessarily sound like the band, but have a similar approach to taking music and breaking it up in quite extreme ways. The band dropping out. I mean, fans of this band will know exactly what I mean already, but in case you're not sure, but if the band's going along and everything's being played, and then all of a sudden all you're hearing is a kick drum or the scratching of the strings on the bass, everything stops for those little moments, or vocals on its own. All of those little sort of touches. There are other bands that have that kind of pattern, in their music. More extreme, on the more extreme end of things, would be Igor from France. If you don't know them, go and check them out. They're batshit crazy. A lot more dark than this. This has a sort of lightness to it. There's definitely a sense of humor and a sort of fun aspect of what they're doing here. I get from the music. Another French artist, the Algorithm, Remy. He's like a one-man project and does everything himself. You get a lot of that sort of in his music. Polyphia, of course, although it's an instrumental sort of guitar band. Polyphia definitely chop and changed in their arrangements. Not as extreme as this. Chon, maybe, if you know them. So there's a few recommendations from my side, because always you guys are recommending stuff to me. But as somebody who's listened to music all his life as well, it works both ways, So you might enjoy some of those bands off the top of my head if you like this kind of stuff. So a three-piece. I like the blend between the male vocals and the female vocals. There's a real lovely dynamic between the two of them, different approaches. In terms of the guitar, very versatile tones coming out of the guitarist. The camera work was so fast, very difficult to get any sort of recognition on exactly what's going on there. I mean, the pickups look like P90 pickups, and it looks like is it a Jaguar he's playing? Or what's the other one? A Jazz Master. The two of them look very similar, the Fenders. It's one of those two, I think, unless it's like a custom brand that's designed in that style. But, the tone, the array of tones coming from the guitar makes me think that there's maybe some sort of Fishman influence pickups or something being used, because it's so extreme. I've actually used, I had a Greg Koch. Yes, I said Koch, but it's Koch. His signature series I had in a Telecaster wasn't as extreme as this, but it gave you different voicings. And I've actually got a guitar in with my local luthier at the moment, and he's installing a set of Scotty LePage Fishman influence pickups and that. He's one of the guitarists from Polyphia, and it'll give me sort of approximately 9 voicings. I've had Brian May guitars in the past as well, so lots of different tonal arrays. I love that in my own approach as well. Whenever I'm writing music, is that you get a particular tone in mind. Maybe rather than having 10 guitars, if you can have 1 or 2 that maybe do them all. Of course, it could be a red herring. That guitar he's using might not be the one that he's used to record it. I don't know. But certainly so many varieties tonally from the guitar would suggest a guitar with multiple pickup configurations. Lots of different techniques being used, tapping and so on as well. But great drumming, of course. Haven't even got to the drummer yet. The drumming was on par. It's all there. And bass as well. So really, really, really interesting, especially with a three-piece, that they can give us so much. You know, each member is providing so much individually as well as coming together as a package, if you like. Strange word to use, but yeah, a group maybe. Package. Here's my package. So I'm going to go through this again, maybe break some of it down, or just give you some thoughts on the moments as they happen. Let's do it. Please consider taking a moment to check out my other channel, JW Soundworks, where you will find unique cover song performances, newly composed piano arrangements, and all of my self-composed original music. Go.
日々の間に埋められた小さな幸せが僕の体を今にも蝕んでいくんだ何をしていたって止まらない600の人が僕を殺める
Okay, so that's definitely into the second part of the song. So that introduction to me sounds like the chorus. You know, it's got all the sort of main hook in there. The harmonic content of that, the sort of chord progression, is definitely something I've heard before. Let's see. Oh, he's definitely in the black keys here, so hang on. Let's go to the E flat minor. So I think the guitar is possibly down half a step. Of course, he could be playing it in that key in the guitar. It is possible. But, you know, when a guitar is in standard tuning, you know, when you're writing from the guitar, if it's in standard tuning, so many songs end up either being an E, A, or D. You know, because they're your sort of three top strings when you're playing down, especially if it's riff-based stuff. You kind of expect that those chords are going to be used somewhere, and none of those are being used. In fact, they're all sort of slightly out. So if you're on a guitar, you're not really able to play your open string. Your E doesn't work. Your A doesn't work. So you'd have to play everything sort of, you know, your E has to go down semitone. So of course I can be wrong. You might be playing the voicings in a different place. But my guess would be that the guitar is down half a step or one semitone, which would give us E flat minor instead of E minor. So, you know, if you hit an E minor chord open on a guitar, that's what you're getting. But this is down. Down one. The reason for that could be to maybe make it sound a little bit heavier, you know, so detuning guitars is sort of normally associated with sort of heavier music to get a heavier sound, a lower sound. Could be a vocal thing, you know, by having it slightly lower. You know, you could have written the song in a different key and then thought, right, it's a bit high for my vocal, I'll bring it down. There's different reasons. Of course, it could be just an artistic choice. I'm going to write in this key. Different reasons why you may decide to start on this key or in this key. Yeah, those are my sort of guesses as to why we're in that key to begin with. That chord progression is definitely something I've heard before. And I like, it's using all chords I would like. Normally, it's easier to think of it up a bit, in which case it would be F, G, A. Or well, the E major and the A minor. So it was up. You'd have an F major 7. I think that was it. So where everything's down. So it's it's going to be so we've got an E major 7 to begin with, to F sharp major, and then, well, if we're talking about sharps, then we're really down to D sharp major. Another way to think of all of this would be F flat major 7, G flat, E flat minor, and then A flat minor. So your N harmonics, you can take your pick, so the key can either be in G sharp minor or A flat minor. If it's in G sharp minor, it's got sharps everywhere, 5 sharps, because that's the relative of B major. So you're getting all those notes in the key. Yeah, you just take your pick in terms of, it can be written using 4 flats if it's an A flat minor. Actually, A flat minor would be the same as C flat minor. Actually, that would be tons of flats. Is that all the flats? That's a lot of flats. Let's say G sharp minor. It's a little bit easier to think of that. Anyway, so the harmony, the progression is actually very straightforward, but because of the key that we're in, if you've seen the sheet music for this, you'd see either, like I say, either sharps everywhere or flats everywhere. So it would be a little bit harder to read from a sheet reading point of view. Everything was up a semitone. It would be a gift. Anybody who reads sheet music knows what I'm talking about. Anybody doesn't, but that's fine. So yeah, then let's talk a little bit about the arrangement then. Oh yes, there's a little breath into the song. I don't remember hearing that in the reaction part of the video. So maybe whenever I open the link, just before I manage to I try and hit pause as quickly as I can when I open a new link with these videos. So maybe I was slightly off, but I don't remember hearing. I like that. And this time I also heard cymbal swells. That as an effect was used. A million effects. All those sort of glitch, kind of, for lack of a better word, like glitchy sort of effects. Let's see how many we can spot in this introduction. Pick slide down the guitar. That gives us that. Actually, even though he's got the chordal progression is that the guitar part is sort of palm muted. There's something moving in another direction, and there's like a contrary motion thing going on there. There's that sort of, okay, so now I've got a bit of an up close image on this guitar and I see lots of switches. What is it? I can't see the headstock, but yeah, he doesn't have the whammy bar in his guitar at the moment. Has he got duct tape over the top pickups? So just above his right hand, there's like a black mass there. You would normally have switches there. You can see 1, 2, there's at least 2. It looks like possibly a kill switch below the bridge pickup, the lower pickup down there. That little white sort of switch, that could be it's like a kill switch is a cutout. So like when you engage it, it just cuts the guitar, it goes into silent. So you can use it for effects. Like, I don't have one on my guitar, but you can get like an instant effect if you're playing, say, that. So like on and off, on and off. You can get that as an effect where you're just tapping the button, so it's a lot easier to use rather than using the volume to do it. So yeah, but you can hear already, some of those, the tones coming out of the guitar are really like sort of vibrant and alive. Sound like active pickups. I mean, I could be wrong, of course, because they look like P90s, but who knows? If you do know what he's using, let me know.
埋められた小さな幸せが僕の体を
So even then, the drummer doesn't go into a beat. So we sort of elongate the tension building of the introduction. Very clever, you know, by using just sort of like a constant, like a military kind of fill. Excuse me. Just sort of, you know, we're not into the groove yet, I feel like, you know, so kind of several false starts, which I like. Band together on the three, did that again. Right, did you hear the cymbals? That sort of effect. That could be done in sort of post-production where it almost sounds like a reverse cymbal. Yeah, I think it is. It sounds like a reverse cymbal effect, you know. So if you're recording in real time, doing the cymbal swell, you can reverse the audio. It gets played backwards. So instead of going and it goes to silence, because, you know, it's backwards. That sounds like what's being used there. In the old days when they had tape, you had to take a tape out and replay it and stuff. Nowadays, when you open your DIW or digital audio workstation, you can literally just flip the audio. So easy nowadays to do that kind of thing. Great effect. What else? That little fill on the guitar, that made me think of something else that was introduced later on. There was a lot of sort of intricate guitar work later on. So don't forget, this is the introduction. So it's an opportunity to highlight different things in the song that you're going to hear, whether subliminally or not, you know, or it could be intentionally on the composer's part, but they're definitely there. Disco beat. You can also hear like overlaid guitars there. So obviously in post-production there's more. So although we've got the three instruments, there's definitely more. As you can hear, you can see from the guitarist, he's sort of strumming the chordal pattern, moving like this here. But you can also hear like a kind of octave pattern. I'll maybe, to keep this video moving, I'm not going to work it out exactly, but it's like, say it's that. That kind of thing, but also, you know, it's not what the guitarist is playing. It's not what the bassist is playing. And that's fine, but it just shows you as well, as even though they're a three-piece, they are layering in the studio to give you a bigger sound. Right, so what's that down to? So is the bassist using a 5-string? No, 4-string. Sounds like that's what the riff is. Maybe I'm harmonizing with it though. Is that the actual note? There's something very dissonant sounding about that. It sounds like there's another note in there to me. There's maybe, as part of this, she may be catching two notes at once. Again, I don't know the tuning, but that's... Is that the riff? Right, and then it goes crazy. Like it hasn't been crazy already. But that sort of, it's polyrhythmic, because if you think of the beat is C, 3, 4. In between the clicks. Bum, 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 bum. So very syncopated in terms of the riffing. Very groovy though. So like even before the drums come in, you can establish where the beat is, even though it's syncopated. There. I mean, actually, none of the band, other than the bassist, has given away the beat, really, because the drums, it's mainly in fills and busyness with all the cymbal chokes and things like that, and there's blast beats and stuff. The guitarist is tapping and all sorts of things. So actually, you kind of need to lock down, focus on what the bassist is doing. You can really find the groove in the music there. So we talked about at the start about the different harmony. So obviously there's a lot of busyness to that, but what is underpinning it? What key are we in? I've got the progression, but I need to find the key. Yeah, so we've got... Oh, that last one's wrong. G sharp minor, F sharp major, E, and that's gonna have to be, what key are we in? I can't think. That's, yeah, D sharp major. It's weird, you don't think of an E flat. Anyway, I like to think in flats more, so yeah. Anyway, so it's that. Which is actually very Latin. You can definitely hear that's the underpinning of the harmony there. Sorry it took me a little longer than it should have, but there we go. Back. And even though the guitar from the outset seems like it's doing sort of crazy stuff, it's actually not really. It's actually quite hooky. Dun 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 dun. Not that easy to sing along to, but you can actually, after hearing it once or twice, you've got the hooks there. So it's very hooky despite it being very busy. At least in my ear. So I guess it depends how much of this kind of music you listen to. Maybe if this is outside of your normal listening field, it might be a bit overwhelming at first, but I guess the more sort of math rock kind of stuff you listen to, progressive and all, maybe it's a bit easier to pick those things out. I like this real dialogue between the singers here at this. Moving from this sort of question and answer type thing that we would usually sort of use in musical terms to describe that. Killer drumming. The question and answer rule was reversed there because it was female, male, back and forward, and now he started at that time. So a role reversal. Interesting. Answer. Great harmony in the vocal. This bit, a building, reminiscent of the introduction. There's that riff used again. Chorus. Nice. Oh yes. There's the spice. So it's a diminished chord in there. So yeah, again, love it. My ears hear that and I'm like, yeah, that's just music to my ears. Oh dear, what a terrible pun in a musical reaction video. So if we're down to E, There we go. So it was like a G diminished chord. Yeah, that's the one. Pushing on. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Love that. Triplet. That little... What you're hearing in the vocals are da. So it says that. You hear that's descending in threes, da da da, up again, da da da, up a step, da da da. You call that sequence. Yeah, it's just a musical term for that, where you get like a repeating. Or that kind of pattern. So it's a sequence in triplets. There's that hook again. So definitely on the second time through, it seems less manic. You know, it's like, oh yes, that's that bit returning. The first time through, it did seem a bit like, what's that? What's that? What's that? Of course, they're keeping it exciting. So even though you're using the same sort of section, they've completely changed it up. Now the bassist and the guitarist, as well as we've got the dialogue, vocal dialogue, question and answer back and forth between them. Their instruments are also doing it. To hear the guitar and the bass are in dialogue with one another. Together. Fast beats. Or it's not really, it's just like a fast sort of unison beat. Yeah, I really like that. I wonder how long they spent just getting that to sound so nasty. You know, because it could be, depending on where you are in the neck, you get a different sound. It sounds low. It's down there somewhere. It sounds nasty. Maybe that was the closest one. And I like that sort of to and fro hard panning of the vocal. Reminded me of another French artist, actually. All the French artists coming out today. A singer, female singer called Camille. If you don't know her, all the craziness, all the French craziness, and I mean that, of course, as complimentarily as I can, because these are artists that I actually really love to listen to. Oh, I can see most replayed. Is that the vocal part? Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing her first on Jules Holland. It could be 20 years ago, long time ago. Yeah, really, really creative stuff with the vocal. There's an album called Le Feel, which I think means that the girl. Please go and listen to that. It's incredible. If you want to hear weird vocalizations and songs built out of that kind of stuff, that's the girl to check out. Double kick that time. Diminished chord. Do you know the one thing they didn't do that I kind of expected? Which fair play to them, they didn't give me what I kind of thought I was going to get, which was a halftime groove. I was kind of expecting that, you know, you get da 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 da. I thought we were going to get da 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 da. Maybe that's too cheesy, I don't know. But I love me a halftime groove. No, denied. Triplet sequence. You hear the distortion on the tom fill? It's proper distortion on that. You know, that's the kind of thing that, you know, if you're in the studio, you avoid that because that's you going into the red line. You go, oh, the drums are distorting. But they're choosing to distort it. They're leaning into the lo-fi. Love it. Hear them cracking? And actually, yeah, the more I think about that, it makes me love the band even more because, you know, that's what you don't do. Do you know what I mean? All the things you go to, you know, you go into the studio and stuff like that, and it's, if you're doing it on your own, you know, then it's probably a little bit easier to make these decisions unless you're with a producer that sort of thinks outside the box. And I'm guessing the band is self-produced. Don't know, but they're so unique and idiosyncratic. I wouldn't be surprised if it's self-produced. But you know what I mean? Like leaning in on decisions where, you know, in a studio setup, typically you hear distortion and be like, no, we need to fix that. That sounds wrong. And you're aiming for like the cleanest sound and the most professional, the sheen and stuff like that. They're actually, it's quite a raw recording for, you know, by today's standards. But I think that actually helps with the identity and I like it. I prefer an artist to be making those choices, you know, rather than just trying to seek out the cleanest sound possible, you know, why bother, you know. There's that hook again, or the Latin harmonic phrase, harmonic progression again. Same riff again, double kick groove. They really don't want you to be able to predict where the end of the song is going to be. And I love that, you know, the sort of constant throwing off. And yet mixed with, you know, harmony-wise, you know, there's definitely some dissonances in there, to be fair. You know, in terms of the arrangement, you know, they're leaning into dissonances. The drums having sort of distortion in elements. Guitars relying on sort of, you know, scratching noises and you know, the harmonics that are not necessarily in key with the chord. So there's definitely dissonance there, but a lot of the main harmonic progressions or the chord progressions in there are not that crazy, but the arrangement is, and I think it's because of that there's a nice sort of mixing of two worlds there. It's not just sort of completely wacky out there, can't follow it. I think it's actually sort of been designed very carefully with precision to sort of, I mean, yeah, I'm just noticing there's nearly 1 million views on it. So, you know, obviously this is probably going to appeal to people who are musicians because they can appreciate the real technicality of everything going on. But there's enough of the hookiness and obviously the style and the aesthetic and all that. So for people who are not necessarily musicians, it's going to appeal to them as well. So yeah, clever stuff. And yeah, really cool as well. So thanks for the request. Enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. If you're passionate about piano, whether as a player or listener, or if you're considering online lessons or masterclasses, please visit my YouTube channel, JWPianoworks. There you'll discover a wealth of piano performances with many more to come. Based on demand, I'll also be introducing video tutorials for piano pieces. Thank you.